turn structure, and how to play. A contest is made up of 6 turns, which can be divided into individual phases. We'll go over those phases in this guide to help you understand the flow of the game. The list of the phases goes as follows. 1. The preparation phase. 2. The declaration phase. 3. Wave start. 4. Movement phase 1. 5. Battle phase 1. 6. Movement phase 2. 7. Battle phase 2. 8. Wave end. 9. End phase. The turn system in the Summoner's Nexus TCG operates with both players making decisions and moving through the phases together at the same time as one another. Neither player can enter the next phase of a turn without first confirming with their opponent that they are ready to do so as well. Let's break down the individual phases, starting with one that wasn't mentioned in the list, the draw phase. It wasn't mentioned because, unlike the other phases, it doesn't feature in every turn of the game. There is no draw phase on the first turn of the game, as this is the point where players have the most resources. From turn 2 onwards, however, there will be a draw phase at the beginning of each turn. During this phase, both players add a single card from the top of their resource deck to their hand. Cards in the resource deck are shuffled when the game begins. As such, players will not know which card they are about to add to their hand until the draw phase is concluded, unless, of course, there is only one card in the resource deck. Following this, the preparation phase begins. Please note that on the first turn of the game, this will be the first phase that players take part in. At this stage, players are given 45 seconds each to decide what avatars to make use of and how many relics and runes to set on the field this turn. For the rest of the turn, each player can only use the resources that were put on the field during the preparation phase, unless in effect states otherwise. A total of 3 avatars and 3 relics or runes can be placed on the field face down during the preparation phase, as only rank cost summons can be performed at this stage in the game. Following this, we move into the declaration phase. During this phase, players reveal the cards that they set face down on the field during the preparation phase. From this point forward, those cards and their abilities become public knowledge. Up to 2 cards per turn can be placed in the assault zone, and up to 2 cards per turn can be placed in the defense zone. Only 1 card can be placed in the counter zone, and only 1 support type card can be placed in the Nexus per turn during the declaration phase. Additionally, any relevant summoning costs from rank cost summons are to be paid at this stage. As Summoner's Nexus is a real-time strategy game, decisions may be made by either player at almost any time. Following these stages of setup, the dynamic parts of gameplay can begin. The action in Summoner's Nexus is contained within what we call a wave. This is where cards move around and do battle with each other. Seeing as the wave is one of the most important parts of the turn, it stands to reason that it is also broken into phases within the turn. The first is Wave Start. This is the beginning of the wave, nothing more. It acts as a stop mark to allow players to activate effects and take stock of their position on the game board before the movement begins. Where things really begin is the first movement phase, simply known as Movement Phase 1. During the preparation and declaration phases, avatars will have been placed in various zones on the field. Cards stationed in the assault zone and the counter zone advance forward down the lanes toward the relevant checkpoints. Every avatar moves at the same speed and arrives at the checkpoints at the same time. An avatar placed in the defense zone will remain stationed at that point until it leaves the field. An avatar placed in the Nexus will also be stationary within the neutral space. Next is Battle Phase 1. With all the cards on the field having arrived at the checkpoints, if they found themselves in proximity to an enemy card, then they'll do battle. The rules surrounding battle will be elaborated on in an upcoming guide. At the end of Battle Phase 1, the game state will shift to Movement Phase 2. If there are avatars on the field with the ability to advance forward down a given lane, then they will have the ability to do so at this time. During this phase, said avatars will move along in an available lane to their final destination for the turn. If no such avatars exist, the movement phase will end. When Movement Phase 2 ends, Battle Phase 2 begins. During this battle phase, once again, if there are up to 2 opposing cards stationed in close proximity with one another, then they may battle at this time. Because of the way the board is laid out, it is necessary to have 2 sets of movement and battle phases. The first allows cards to advance towards and battle at the checkpoints where they meet, while the second gives cards the ability to reach their final destinations and battle there in a single turn. Similar to Wave Start, we have a phase referred to as Wave End. This, as the name suggests, is the end of the wave. After this point, no movement or battle can take place. However, effects can still be activated. At the end of this phase, any runes in either player's casting zone that have not been used are revealed and sent to the graveyard. Finally, we have the end of the turn, where all action ceases before players progress to the next turn. If a player has a value of 0 in their Nexus gauge at this point, they lose the game. If this does not occur, then the game will go on for a total of 6 turns, with the winner at the end of the 6th turn being the player with the highest value in their Nexus gauge. We hope this brief summary of the rules has been helpful. Of course, as with most developing card games, there are further complexities that will be explained in the near future. In addition, the rules of the game are currently subject to change as development and playtesting continues. We hope that you will continue to support our journey by subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you're aware about news and updates relating to the property. Goodbye.